did was get laughed at. You can go backtrack, but you never get cash back. And they told me I'm half black, but I'm white as a lab rat. With a mic and a gas mask, and a life in your trash ass. And I might get the last laugh, gonna fight a few back.
Welcome to the Get Real podcast. I'm Austin, I'll be your host. Today we're going to be talking about the Denver Nuggets. Now, Denver has been talked about quite a bit this year. They've had a good amount of success, one of the best home teams in the NBA. I'm not going to go into so much detail about what Denver's done this year, but more as what are we looking at for this team going for the next 5 to 10 years. And when you break down the roster, you might actually have a potential future dynasty. Now, here's why. I'm going to go in depth on the roster and the age, their playstyle, all that good stuff. The oldest player with this team is Paul Millsap, a guy who's still a pretty solid defender. Offensively, he's kind of fell off a little bit, has trouble staying healthy. And then your second oldest is Will Barton, at 27. The rest of these guys, these young studs, the Malik Beasley coming off the bench, 22 years of age, Torrey Gay, 28, Gary Harris, 24, Juan Hernangomez, 23, Nikola Jokic, 23 as well. Jamal Murray is 21. Monte Morris, he's been kind of a real treasure, just kind of a guy they found coming off the bench. He's 23 as well. Trey Lyles, Tyler Landon, 22, 23 respectively. Point being is most of the really good talent on here are young guys who are about 4 to 5 years away from their prime, and that's important. Statistically, as we know now, it's kind of speculated that 28 is kind of the number where a player really hits his prime, unless you're LeBron James and you don't have a prime, you're just the best you've ever been forever. But with this team, their whole core is just they're years away from being at their best, and they're already showing they're a top 3, top 4 team in the West right now. So let's break down what this team's playstyle is and how it fits into the modern NBA. It seems to be kind of the epitome of what we know is as today's league, right? It's ball movement, it's moving the ball really well among the perimeter, nailing three-point shots. That's why you get guys like Jamal Murray. Millsap can shoot threes, a stretch big, which if you're in the NBA as a team, you need to have a stretch big. Gary Harris is a good two-way wing, plays the two, also good shooting the three ball. And then you got Jokic, the guy who can shoot from the perimeter, he can go bang with you in the post, and he moves the ball great. He's their best player at 23. He has a few weaknesses as a player. He tends to not be too aggressive. Sometimes he can be a bit more aggressive and should attempt more shots. But I think from the season as a total, he has I want to say it's like 17 points, 9.5 rebounds, and like 7.2 assists. That's not too far from a triple-double. And that's the big thing I want to look at here, the assist. He has the best assist among a big man the entire NBA. Now people say, well, can his lack of being aggressive, does that mean it's just not a good offensive player? Does that mean he's lacking something? My theory is this. He has to be more of a facilitator in this offense to make the team as best as they can possibly be. I'm sure he can get his numbers and average 20 plus 22 points per game, but I don't think that would be best for the team as a whole. I think you have to run offense through him. I like Jamal Murray. I think he's going to be a special talent. He's not, even though he can move the ball, that's not his game. His game is putting the basketball on the net. That's pretty much it. He's very skilled at that. He's a shooter. He can go into the paint. He might give you a few kickouts, but being the offensive force that he is, that's the best you're going to get from him. So you have to have that ball movement come from somewhere else. Gary Harris, great two-way wing. Barton is more of a shooting guard, but he has to play at small forward spot because they're kind of thin there. So you really have a limited option on who can facilitate the ball. And luckily, they have a guy in Jokic who fits that bill perfectly. So he probably could put up quote-unquote bigger numbers, but the question is, does that really benefit the team or just benefit him? So some of those numbers off face value aren't the most sexy-looking numbers, but trust me, the way he moves that ball, that's how the team is the way they are. If he was a guy that tried to force a 25-10 every night, this team would not be top 5 in the NBA. It just wouldn't. They need that from him, and for him to accept that role is kind of a great sense of leadership on his part. So good on him to do it. I think the only thing this kid really needs to work on is when nothing else is falling, when you're hurt or your team's just not up to snuff, teams have off nights. So I think the only thing Jokic really needs to show is that he can really take over a game if he has to. If the shot's not falling, his team's cold from the field, that he can take the ball and just, you know what, I can do it myself. He's shown flashes of that. He'll put up great numbers. I mean, look at what he did this whole month of December this past month. He had great numbers against Toronto, OKC, the Clippers, teams that have really Memphis Grizzlies. I'll just throw them out as well. Those are really good, solid teams with great post presence. You have Ibaka, Valanciunas in Toronto, Montrezl Harrell's no joke from the Clippers, Marc Gasol in Memphis, Steven Adams in OKC, and he's put up some really big-time numbers. So he's shown that he can do that. I guess just a bit more consistency is really what you need to see before you can really label him as the superstar, right? So the reason I'm thinking is that this team could be kind of a future powerhouse is I don't think this is anywhere close to their ceiling. I mean, I think the big X factor is who is Michael Porter Jr. as a player. He hasn't played a single minute in the NBA, has those back problems. That's the whole reason he fell to number 14 to this team. But for those that do not remember, Michael Porter Jr., before he started college, was projected to be the number 1 overall pick in this draft. Then he got hurt. He never really played. Those back problems are scary for GMs. That's why the kid fell. But let's not forget, he was supposed to be, coming out of high school, the guy. And if he can channel that, and if he can show that he is that kind of guy, well then, holy crap, Denver has at least another starter quality wing there. And that's really the only position they're missing talent from is that wing spot. That's why I have to play Barton out of his natural shooting guard spot to the small forward. So if he plays anywhere near that potential, well, damn. Now you really got a team that's cooking here. And now you have these younger guys who in a few years will be really hitting their primes, perfecting their craft, perfecting their game. Now you really have a tough team to deal with. And another factor that I don't think people really consider is there's a reason here. There's a method to why Denver's a really good home team. It's literally harder to breathe in their stadium than anywhere else because you're in the mountains, the atmosphere is different. That's a bit more of a home advantage for a team than usual, right? You literally have your location affecting when the other team steps onto the court. So there's that to consider as well. So let's kind of, recheck what we've discussed. You have the core of this team, most of which are under 24 years of age, so they're 4 to 5 years from hitting their prime, and they're already studs. And you have the X factor, Michael Porter Jr., who projected to be the number 1 overall pick, might come back from that back injury, and might be, the guy that puts this team over the edge. If not, they still have a combination of youth, vets, and they might have some cap space to work with because Paul Millsap has a $30 million team option for next offseason in which they can decline and make some moves, hopefully, right? So that is what we're looking at. Their style of play fits this game perfectly in combination with their unusual home court advantage. If I had to decide what my projection for this team this year would be, is definitely a second round appearance. They might be a dark horse to make the Western Conference Finals and meet Golden State there, but it's probably not going to be this year that they're going to shell out. It might be the next year or the next 2 years after this when we really go, hey, they're vying for that top spot in the West. But they're getting there. They're a team that should not be slept on, and neither should Jokic. This team is for real. What do you guys think? Are you not sold on Denver? Are there any flaws in their system that you see that I haven't provided? What do you think about this team? Where do you think we'll go? Or is there another young team out there who deserves a bit more spotlight that might be the next powerhouse in the West? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. As always, please like, subscribe, share to anybody who likes NBA content. Let me know what you want to talk about next or how I can improve. I love you guys' feedback as always. This is the Get Real Podcast. Thank you.